Listen, I have a confession to make. I was a terrible leader. Now, hearing this, you're probably wondering, why is she telling this to this giant crowd? What did she even do? Well, don't worry, I hear you. And to answer that very question, we have to rewind to 2 years back. Picture me standing on the stage of my junior high auditorium giving a passionate speech about why I would be the best candidate for student council president. Now keep in mind, I had done everything to get on that stage, from making handmade glittery posters like that one Direction reference, if anyone got that, to going one-on-one with students and discussing what they wanted to see the following year. Let alone student council, I was running like I was going for the president of the country. So when I won, I thought to myself, oh, that hard part? It's done. Boy, was I wrong. My term kicks off, and at first, it's smooth. We jump right into planning that Halloween dance. We start picking out snacks to sell for a snack cart, and everyone's having a great time. But slowly, as weeks begin to go by and time progresses, something begins to change. Someone stops showing up. People stop participating as eagerly. There's less laughter during meetings, and when I'd ask for suggestions or comments, all I'd be met with during meetings would be blank stares. Now, this probably raises the question, right? Why did that happen? But see, me at the time, I was indifferent to all that. I was like, oh, it's a temporary issue, it'll solve itself over. You know, it's something temporary, it's just a slump. They'll get over it. Except I was wrong. Again. This time, the warnings caught up to me. February 14th rolls around, Valentine's Day, Day of Love, fun, right? And we have this amazing fundraiser planned. Candy grams and teddy bears, delicious chocolate. So, unfortunately though, what should have been one of our most crowning achievements ended up being one of the worst logistical nightmares that I had ever seen. See, we ordered those teddy bears really late, so they came on the day of the fundraiser. We were up at school the morning of, cramming these teddy bears into these plastic bags, hoping and praying that we didn't pack the same order twice. There was chocolate over the floor. We didn't know if we were putting too much or too little. Basically, it was super chaotic. And while in the end we did get those orders distributed, it came at a heavy cost. It was not a good look for our team. So, that entire incident stemmed from something much deeper than what you might think. You might think, oh, that probably happened because of miscommunication, laziness. But in truth, I'll tell you this. That stemmed from a deeper cause, and that cause was a leadership style that looked strong on the outside but was internally dividing my team apart. That very leadership style that I was embodying. And see, I unfortunately didn't realize this until one day. One of my closest friends, who also happened to be on the council, decided to pull me aside and tell me straight to my face, hey, Devshree, I feel invisible on student council. I feel unincluded. I feel like I have no purpose. Now, hearing those words, I was obviously taken aback. I didn't expect that to happen. I was completely oblivious. So hearing that, more than just a team member, she was also my best friend. So I asked her, why? How? And it was there, sitting on that lunch grass during a lunch period, that I learned that some of the most important leadership lessons in life. See, she told me that I had fallen into a kind of leadership style that most of us are actually taught to admire. Think about that. The kind we see in TV shows and kids shows and politics and everywhere. The kind of leader who talks the loudest, who pushes their agenda, who makes all of the decisions, and of course, guarantees those perfect sweet results. Now, looking at this list, you might think, oh, well, what's wrong with it? Right, it looks pretty good. They're in control, nothing's going wrong, right? But see, what may look strong never feels strong to the people who are being led under this. Why? Because this puts the focus completely on the leader and sends the message that in order to lead well, you have to be on top of everyone and everything. And that's not true. See, so I was embodying this, and now I knew I had to change. I had a counsel to take to success, right? So I asked myself some questions. What can I do to change? What other alternatives are there? And the answer to those questions came up. The answer to those questions was servant leadership. See, to explain this kind of servant leadership idea thing to you, I have a quote. My old English teacher from last year, Mr. Reese, actually told this to me, and I find the heart of servant leadership within this quote. The quote goes like this: a good leader in war will guarantee victory, but a great leader will make sure that you come back home alive. So within that quote, I find the heart of servant leadership, which is putting your team's well-being over your personal glory. And as I began to incorporate this servant leadership idea into my own student council, I began to learn some key lessons that I think every single leader should have. Number one, your people always come first over anything, including your results. So let me paint a little picture for you to understand this, right? Pretend you're at a basketball game. Let's say we're at the Warriors game. And you decide to only look at the scoreboard and nothing else. Not the court, you're only looking at the scoreboard. Just think for a second, what would you miss? Think. Well, you would miss the three-pointers, you would miss the passes between the teammates, you would miss their collaboration, maybe some fouls, maybe some injuries. You would miss the whole point of the game, right? You would become bored. Unfortunately, leaders who chase perfect outcomes do this exact same thing. They get tangled up in this mess in chasing perfection when it doesn't even exist. They put all the work on themselves thinking, oh, I can do it cleaner, I can do it better than you, so I'm going to do everything myself. Or they throw all the tasks on the team members and treat them like machines. And in that process, they realize that they ignored their team members' areas of improvement, their joys, their struggles. And ironically, that scoreboard suffers because of that, even though they're chasing perfection. So what does putting people first look like, right? It's really easy to say, but how do you do it? Well, it means empowering them and growing them. And one of my best pieces of advice on how to do this is through appropriate delegation. Sounds like a fancy word, huh? Basically, what it means is you should give your team members tasks that they can feel proud of. Don't give them the busy work. Yeah? Give them real work that contributes to your team. When they feel like they own a part of your team or they did something, they will feel empowered. They'll feel empowered through experience and feel more motivation to actually go and work on your team. That'll help everything. And see, I learned this the hard way. I used to make all the flyers, I used to lead all the meetings, I used to make all the agendas, when those tasks could have easily been offloaded to someone else. Could have easily made someone else feel like they're more part of the team than I was. So when I started doing that, I let other people take over, and what happened next was amazing. I saw our results prosper, and it was the perfect idea. Next, you have to build a community, not a group. See, as a leader, you need to be striving to make your team not intimidated by one another, but inspired by one another. Make yourself vulnerable, make yourself personal, put yourself on the level of your team members. And when you do that, they won't be scared to talk to you. They'll tell you, they'll be honest. Hey, you're not doing this right. I feel like I'm not doing this right. Can you help me? And when you do that, collaboration becomes second nature. And when that happens, meetings become kind of like a ping pong table. Like ideas bouncing back and forth and so on and so forth. And when you have that happening, you know you've got a good team. Now, one way to do that would be through leading with the heart. So what that means is, think about it. When you imagine a leader, what do you think of? Maybe a suit? Maybe a stern look, right? Maybe like a power pose, right? Nothing like nice comes to mind. But that's not leadership, that's just performance. You know, real leadership happens when you have a heart full of kindness, a compassionate mindset, and an unselfish attitude. I know every single person in this audience is capable of that. See, when you have something like this, you understand that you can build authentic relationships with your team members to establish that community that we talked about earlier. And when you do just that, you'll see miracles happen. See, leading with the heart means doing simple things like asking, how are you doing? Are you struggling with anything? Do you need help? And when you do that, you'll know that where your team is struggling and where they're not. And when you do that, you realize that not only does your team improve, but so do you. As the popular saying goes, I helped a man climb a mountain, and I too realized that I had reached the top. So putting those 3 principles into practice, I noticed a vast transformation within my team. Remember that whole Valentine's Day catastrophe I talked about? The next fundraiser in March was our Pi Day fundraiser, and that fundraiser raised enough funds for us to fund our final grad dance successfully. And why did that happen? Because I implemented these 3 key principles, and I put servant leadership at the forefront, and I got rid of my ego. So here's my final note to you. Every single one of you in this crowd is a leader, whether you know it or not. A friend group, office, a club, whatever it may be, but you are a leader. So you have the power to apply every single point that I just talked about in your life. So next time when you find yourself in a position of power, ask yourself this one question. If the only thing that people remembered about me was how I treated them, would you still call yourself a good leader? And if you said yes, then congratulations. You've transcended the typical molds of traditional leadership. You've gone beyond, you've understood that leadership is about empathy, growth, and the seeds that you plant that may grow long after you're gone. And that is the kind of leadership that we should all strive for. Thank you.